can be sure that we're getting the grades back to you so that you guys can do corrections. And by the way, I was going through the tests that you guys sent back, and several of you sent tests back, but you didn't do corrections. You can actually get credit back by doing the corrections on the math test. That's the reason I'm sending you the ones that you've missed, so that you can do the correction on those. So try to remember to do that. And if you send me a picture of it, you can either do it either way, send it in the envelope or do a picture of it, but do this first. So pay attention so you understand what to do. When I send you the test back to let you know how you did or which ones you missed, mark those on there. Then I'll know which ones to look at for the corrections and do the corrections in red pen. Some of you have been doing that, and that's fine. But otherwise, just mark them so that I can look at them easily and get them back, get the grades back to you quickly. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We're doing the practice for lesson 100. All right. So practice for lesson 100. All right. And so if you don't have the practice, just turn your volume down, and then if you're going to do it later, send it to me. That would be great. All right. Still missing two people, Daliana and somebody else. Nathan's here. Ella. Looks like Ella we're missing. All right. All right, so here we go. Letter A is 1/3. B is 1/3. C is 2/3. D is 1/4. E is 3/4. F is 2/5. G is 1/2. H is 3/5. And I is 3/4. I is 3/4 on that last one. Somebody's making a lot of noise there close to where their device is. Okay, any check marks for anybody? Sounds like somebody's breathing heavily right next to their device. Now that they stop breathing altogether. All right, so no check marks from anybody?
No.
Any questions on anything? All right. Let's go ahead and go on to the lesson then. All right, so we're ready. If anybody has their turn down, we're ready. All right, so here we go. Number one is 0. 2 is 9 times 10 equals 90. Number 3, 5 6 plus 6. 5 tenths plus 6 tenths equals 1 1/10. David, can you hear me? I didn't know if you were, if you had turned it down or not, and then had to pick up. Number 4 is 4,312. That's 4312. 5A is 4 quarts. B is 24 quarts. 6 is 19.1. 7 is 0.5, 1/2, and 50%. 8 is a sphere. 9 is B. 10 is 1 2/3. 11 is 1 2/3. 12 is 4. 13 is 2/3. 14 is 3. And 15 is 1/2. Okay, yes, Selena.
Mr. Jones, would you repeat number 12 and 14?
Yes, 12 is 4 and 14 is 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead to number 16. Number 16 is 25,314.42. So 25, 314.42. Number 17 is 76. 18 is 192, 852. 192,852. $852. 19 is $45. 20 is 48. 21 is 48. 22A is 3. B is 2 1/4. 23 is 20 over 20. 24 is 195 points. 25 is 205 points. Okay, Alina?
Would you please repeat 24?
Yeah, 24 is 195 points.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you repeat number 17?
Yes, 17 is 76.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Jones?
Yes,
Andy
ma'am.
speaking. Can you repeat
Sure.
repeat number 20?
20 is 48. All right. All right, add them up. See how many you missed. Then I'll get the scores from you. Remember, some of you have your microphones turned off, so turn your microphone on when you tell me what your score is. Elizabeth, what'd you get?
24.
Thank you very much. Alina?
14.
Okay, do a correction on that. Do you have any questions on anything? Are there any particular ones that you're missing that you need help with? Look through it and see, then I'll get the rest of the grades, and then you can figure out if you need some help on particular things. Yuri?
Math lesson pass.
I'm sorry?
Math lesson
Oh.
pass.
Okay, did you share it up?
It's the one that I told you about yesterday.
Oh, right, that you got all ruined. Okay. All right, so, all right, Daliana's not here. Nathan?
I didn't have it.
Did I have the lesson done? Okay. Tejas?
25 out of 25.
Is that a full lesson?
Yeah.
Did you get help?
No.
Okay, then I'll write a half lesson pass for you. I'll put it in with your stuff. Go. All right. And then Sophia? Sophia, your my microphone's off. Okay, go ahead. Sophia. If you're trying to show me with a picture, you're going to need to turn your camera on. Okay, there you go. I can't hear you, unfortunately. Can you get your whiteboard? And even though it says your microphone's on, but I can't hear you for some reason. Is your volume up, or is your volume turned off on your computer if it's a computer? I can't see that. So, do you, what's your grade on that, Sophia? Sophia, can you hear me, Sophia? I can't hear you. I'm not sure what your grade is on that. Whoever is right next to their microphone, please stop tapping. Okay, I'm looking closely. Hold on. Hold it still so I can get it. I can't see anything except the bottom of your picture.
18.
Did you say 18? 19? Okay, Sophia, I cannot hear you. There's no sound coming out. Can you write it on your whiteboard really quickly? Okay, I think I see 18. Is that correct? Shake your head yes or no. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. All right, Angelica.
I did it with this ride.
Okay, Nazar.
21.
Okay, Giselle.
21.
All right, Elijah.
25.
Is that a full lesson without help? Okay, I'll give you half lesson pass. All right, Flock.
I couldn't find mine.
Okay, Ella.
I came late.
Okay, and then David. So go back and watch the video and grade it and send it to me then later on. David. Can't, your microphone's off, David. Oh, you don't have it? Okay. All right, so let's look at your next lesson then. Lesson number 101. Converting and reducing improper fraction. I don't know who it is, but somebody is breathing right into their phone or they're in, and it's making really loud noise for everybody. It's not just me. Everybody's hearing it. So try not to have it so close to you. If you need to speak to me, that's fine. But yes, do you have a question, Nathan, or no? Or are you just adjusting your video? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look at lesson 101. And what we're talking about is converting and reducing improper fractions. Now, you guys have converted improper fractions to mixed numbers, and that's the idea. Is what we're doing is converting to mixed numbers. And so you may have had, like they have an example on the front, 3/4 plus 3/4 is equal to, and then of course the bottom, when you're adding subtracting fractions, the denominator stays the same, so that's going to be fourths on the bottom, and you add the top up, and that becomes a 6/4. And so with that, then you can't. That's called an improper fraction. Now, at our grade level, we convert those to mixed numbers. When you get into about 8th, 9th grade, you don't need to really. They won't have you convert them so much anymore. Mixed numbers kind of go out of use because of algebra. Algebra sort of requires you to sort of have improper fractions at times, and so so then you take this number 6/4. You take the 6. So with your answer of 6/4, you take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. All right. And so you have 6 divided by 4, 6 divided by 4, and then 4 goes into 6 one time. You subtract, and you get 2 left over. So then you would take your remainder, which is 2, put it on the top, and then put your divisor on the bottom. I think most all of you remember this probably. You take your remainder, put it on the top of the fraction, put your divisor on the bottom. So your divisor 4 goes to the bottom, the remainder goes on the top. Well, that fraction 2/4 can be reduced, can it? So what can that fraction be reduced to? Go ahead, Yuri.
1.5.
Yeah, so it end up being the fraction gets reduced to 1/2, so the total answer is 1.5. Now, when you do that, you've got to make sure that you put the whole number back with the fraction when you reduce it. And so then you become 1.5 is your final answer, reduced answer. Now, if you left it at 1 2/4, you would get half credit, but you would lose half for not reducing. Okay? All right, so let's look at the first example there. And it says, write 8/6 as a reduced mixed number. So what would you get if you haven't looked at it? What would you get then? Let's say, Nathan, 8/6 as a reduced fraction. What would you get?
1 and 2/6, and if you reduce
Okay.
that, 1 1/3.
Correct. He did that all in his head. So you reduced 8/6 to 1 2/6, and then 1 1/3 as the answer. If you look there in your example, that it has there, for example, 1, well, that's exactly what you've done. All right. Now, On example 2, you have 1 and 7/8 plus 1 and 3/8. So here we have a combination where you're adding mixed numbers together. So you're going to add the 1 and the 1, and that equals what? Everybody? 2, okay?
2.
So 2, and then you got to add the fraction part. The fraction part is 7/8 plus 3/8, and that equals
10.
10/8.
8.
Now this is still improper because the fraction is improper. So we're going to find out that you get out of the 10/8. What do you get out of that? How would you convert that? What would that convert into? Ella, how about you? 10/8 would convert to what? You got to turn your microphone on. So what would the 10/8? Go ahead.
1 and 1/2. No,
Okay,
1 and
no,
1
it would be
fourth.
1 and 1/2. What would
1
it
and
convert to
1/4.
first? Yeah, it would be 1 and 1/4 because it would be 1 and 2/8 for the fraction,
Mhm.
and that would convert. That would reduce to 1 and 1/4. But then what? Okay, I don't know who it is, but it's either Ella, Yuri, Tejas, Elijah, or Nathan. Because one of you is breathing right next to your device because it's like constant. We're hearing this breathing. Now it stopped, so it's one of you that did it. Okay, so then you have 1 and 2/8, or 1 and 1/4 as your answer for the just for the fraction part. So just for this part becomes 1 and 1/4. But then you've got to add it to the whole number, and this is where people forget sometimes. They forget to add the 1 and 1/4 part to the 2, and so they end up. The answer then becomes 3 and 1/4. Who is that that's constantly breathing into the thing? Please stop. I think it might be you. Yes, no? You have no idea. Okay. Well, anyway, so 3 and 1/4 would be your final answer. All right, so I'm going to turn my camera off. Let's give you guys a little quiz here, test how well you can do in this. All right, I'm going to put it up here. I'll read it to you as well. Come on, there we go. All right, it is 3 and 3/5 plus 5 and 7/5. 3 and 3/5 plus 5 and 7/5. Now, there are a few of you that I don't have a picture on, and if you wanted to show it to me, you'd have to turn your camera on. If not, you just wait until I give you the final answer to see if you got it right. Yes, Elijah. Your microphone's off. No, Nathan, that is incorrect.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, who is that? That's Yuri. David, you're correct. Paige, you're correct. Nizar, you're correct. Alina, you're correct. Okay, Elijah, back it up. Okay, you're correct, Elijah. That's correct. And then Yuri, you're correct. And Tejas, you're upside down. There you go. Now you got it. You got it. You were good, Tejas, already. Your answer was already good. Hey, David, can you stop doing that, please? It's very distracting for everybody. Thank you. But more importantly, it's distracting to me. All right. So what you get here is you get an answer of 8 and 10/5. 8 and 10/5 is your answer. 10/5 is equal to
2.
what?
2.
2. That's right. So you add 2 to the 8. So the total here is 10
Okay.
as your answer. Okay. All right. Any questions about that? How that works? Pretty simple. You see how they're adding step by step here of little things that you've learned to use for each lesson as you keep going on. They're building on foundation of knowledge of what you have. Some of you apparently are doing better in your homework. At least that's what you're telling me. Whether that's really true or not, I don't really know, I guess. But I'm assuming that's probably true for most of you. It's a little bit easier sometimes when you can concentrate, spend more time on it. And you guys certainly have more time to do work than you had when you're here at school, getting distracted by friends, having recess all the time. We should just take away recess, I think, during the day, and then you guys would be able to get more work done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of you are like, no. Well, some of you are like, yeah, I don't care. I don't do recess anyway. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's go to language. And we're going to check that one exercise that you were assigned yesterday. Points.
That was the best.
All right, so each one of these is going to be 1 point. We're getting, just mark it wrong with a red pen. All right. This is big for the test, so you want to make sure that you mark them wrong so that you can double check to see why you got them wrong. Yuri, your microphone's off, but you have a question, go ahead. I guess you didn't hear what I said. Your microphone is off. Okay, there you go.
Can I use a homework pass?
Can you use a homework pass on this one? I'm going to say yes. However, you really need to do. You know, Yuri, I know you have a lot of missing assignments and things, and you're using these homework passes. Let me see what you've used in language already. Hold on, let me check. You've used a lot already. I may not let you, but if you haven't, then yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I'm still missing some things from you, Yuri, though. And who's vacuuming in the background, or who is doing something in their kitchen?
They're doing something downstairs. I don't know what.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just gonna mute.
So everybody listen for this, because this is something I needed to mention for math as well. But you guys need to get these things done and sent in to me. And I sent an email out, a text out to all the phone numbers that I have. And what you're supposed to do is, if you have a quiz, send the quiz to me, and then I'll give you your grade back on that quiz. If it's a math test, you need to send that math test to me, okay? And you need to get that done. Okay, you need to get that done and sent to me as a picture, and I can send you back your grade. I only have 1, 2, 3 quiz 5s from Monday, and it's Thursday already. And I only have Elizabeth's, Daliana's, and Elijah's. So I'm missing of them. And so that means you guys, either you haven't done it or you just haven't sent it to me, and that's fine if you just haven't sent it to me, but send it to me. I want to see those so I can get those for you, get them back for you so you can see how you did on them, so then you can get things checked to make sure that you understand and you have any questions for me before you have your test next week. Okay, so if you haven't done it, you need to get that done. You have another quiz there that you're going to be given to do. And I think that, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I think that some of you are basically back into spring break mode. And meaning basically you're kind of being lazy about doing your work, and you're kind of taking advantage of the fact that your mom and dad might not be checking up on you. And so you're not really getting your work done. And so you have plenty of time to get it done. You can always ask me if you have questions on things. You don't have an overwhelming amount of work. In fact, you have less than what you would have if you were here at school, and you have more time to do it. Now, maybe some of you are sleeping until almost 10 o'clock before you get up. I have no idea. If that's the case, maybe you're staying up later and doing the work, and that's fine if that's what you're doing. But I still need to get it back from you so I can get it graded and so I can get it back to you. All right. I was asking before. Now I'm going to require it. Okay. Because some of you say you're doing work, and I have a feeling that some of you really are not doing the work, and you're trying to cram it in like over the weekend or something like that. This is the last Monday is the last day you can turn in assignments for the third quarter. If it's not in by Monday, and I'm talking about phone or turned in on the envelope, it will not count. You can send it to me later. It's not going to count though. So if it's a test, you get a 0. So if it's a quiz, you get a 0. And so some of you are playing around and keep procrastinating and pushing things off, and that's not helpful for you. Okay? I'm not doing it for myself. I don't know who turned my camera off. I'm not doing it myself. I'm not doing it for myself. It does help me when you get things turned in quickly. This is all for you, and I'm letting you know now, this is for you. If you don't get that stuff done, it is going to be not good for you in the end. I mean, you really need to make sure that you get it done. All right, so let's go back to the answers. So yes, Yuri, you can use a pass on that. I'll put that in there for you. But I want you to write the answers down. Okay? All right, so there are 39 possible answers on. All right, so here we go. For number 2, Number 2, the is an adjective, knowledge is a noun, of is a preposition, words is a noun, is a verb, is an adjective, gate is a noun, of is a preposition, and scholarship is a noun. Any questions on that one? Hey, David, go ahead.
Did we have to do anything for John Wilson?
No, that one you did not have to do. That's not part of it. Okay, any other questions? All right, Alina, go ahead.
Miss.
How much is it if you miss one?
If you miss one, it's -1. Each word is 1 point.
Oh, okay.
Makes it easier.
Mr. John.
Who is that?
Ella.
Okay, go ahead, Ella.
What was of, words, and the?
Okay, say that again. Which ones? Of, words, and the. Okay, of is a preposition, words is a noun, and the is an adjective. Okay, Elijah, go ahead. Go ahead, Elijah.
How much answers are there? How much can you miss?
How many what?
How many questions are there?
There are 39 words altogether that you're supposed to identify. So there'll be 39 points in the end.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Any other questions? All right. Sentence 3 then. Every is an adverb. Man's is an adjective. Work is a noun. Is a verb. A is an adjective. Portrait is a noun. Of is a preposition. And himself is a pronoun. Okay, go ahead. Do you have a question yourself? Oh. Okay. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Alina.
I have 2.
Okay.
Would you repeat portrait?
I couldn't hear you. Which one?
Portrait.
Portrait is a noun. Hey, Nathan, turn your microphone off, Nathan. I think you're the one that's making all the noise. Your stuff is right there next to the microphone, wherever that is. Aha. We found the culprit. Okay. It was you. All right. So you're moving right there next to your microphone. You probably don't realize it. You can't hear it yourself, but everybody else can. All right, so go ahead. Any other questions?
Mr. Jones, this is Ella.
Yes. Yes, Ella.
What about what is it for man's?
Okay, for man's is an adjective.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, here we go for number 4 then. Past is a verb. All is an adjective. Your is an adjective. Cares is a noun. On is a preposition. God is a noun. That, adjective. Anchor, noun. And holds, verb. Okay, David, go ahead.
Would you repeat that, anchor, and holds?
That is an adjective. Anchor is a noun. And holds is a verb. Okay, Alina, go ahead.
Would you repeat cares and on?
Cares is a noun, and on is a preposition.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Nazar.
Your.
Your is an adjective. Yeah, David, it would be nice if you'd stop doing that, please. Thank you. All right, anybody else? Questions? Okay, the reason that your is an adjective, by the way, because some of you may have put pronoun for that, is because it's talking about it when a pronoun comes right before a noun, like your, and it's showing possession, that makes it an adjective. It's answering the question, whose cares, your care. And so that's why it becomes an adjective there. And that can happen with words. They can become other parts of speech depending on how they're used. So pay attention to that. Okay, here we go. Number 5. All right. Love. Elijah? Elijah? Yes, hi. You ready? Okay. Love is a verb. Oh, you've got it over there. I see. Labor is a noun. It is a pronoun. Is a verb. Wholesome is an adjective. For is a preposition. Thy is an adjective. Body is a noun. And is a conjunction. Good is an adjective. For, preposition. Thy is an adjective. And mind is a noun. Okay, Nathan, turn your microphone on. Go ahead.
What was love and labor?
Verb and noun. Okay, thank you. Any others? Yuri, you have one or no? You didn't have your hand up? Okay. All right. All right, then.
Mr.
Let's go ahead and
Jones?
get your... Yes.
What was good?
Good was an adjective.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. So let's get the grades for that. All right, Elizabeth, go ahead and turn your microphone on and tell me your grade.
I'm a 9.
Okay, thank you. Alina? Okay, thank you. Nathan?
-3.
Okay, thank you. Tejas?
-2.
All right. Sophia? Are you trying to show me? Because I can't see anything from your picture. I don't hear anything either from you, Sophia. And I think maybe your computer volume is off. If you're using a computer, I'm not sure if you're using one or not. I'll tell you what, Sophia, I'll get yours in a minute here. Angelica, go ahead and turn your microphone on and tell me. Go ahead, turn your microphone on, Angelica. Okay, we'll just skip you for the moment. Nazar.
8.
Okay, thank you. Giselle. You got to hold it right in the middle. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of some people. I'll pull you down. Maybe it's larger. It's too close. Back it up a little bit. More. More. Move to your left. Okay, got it. Elijah?
-4.
Okay. Schlott?
-3.
Okay. Ella?
-3.
And David?
12.
Okay. Any questions on any of these? No questions, huh? All right. Now, look at me. Everybody, if you can see me, but you can definitely hear me. So now what I want you to do is I want each of you to send me a picture of what we just graded. I want to make sure you're using red pens and things like that. So go ahead and send me a picture today. You don't have to do it right now, but send me a picture of it later on so that I can see the red marks and things like that for that. Now, your assignment for today, okay, is going to be, and this is for a grade as well. Yes, Yuri, what? You know, this is great, muting the microphone. However, that means I can't hear you.
What if I use the homework pass?
If you use the homework pass, then you don't need to send it.
Okay, good.
Anyway, so for diagrams, there on on the part there where it says diagrams. Okay, this is for points. Now listen to me. Look at the instructions there. Everybody look it together. It says time and I'm sorry, not the instructions. Number 1, underline the subject once and the verbs twice. Number 2, put parentheses around the prepositional phrases. And then number 3, diagram these sentences on notebook paper. This is your only assignment today, again, for language, but we're taking it for a grade, okay? So each part of this is going to be graded. So follow the directions, do what you need to do on that, and make sure that you do it correctly. If you have questions about anything, contact me. You have several ways you can do it, but make sure you do that so that we can get make sure that you're understanding what you're supposed to do. Use your preposition cards where you need to find the prepositional phrases. Make sure you always find the verb first, then ask who or what before it in order to find out what the subject is. Remember, you can have compound subjects. You can have compound verbs. You can have compound sentences. And then your diagram will also be worth a point each. So this is going to be worth a good number of points here. So you want to make sure that you're doing it well. But this is your only assignment, is to do that one section there. All right? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so write that down in your book.
What's your own?
Yeah.
What was the assignment again?
Okay. Diagrams on page number 157. That one part there, the diagrams, and there are 3 parts to it, so pay attention to it to make sure you do everything. There are actually 4 parts if you think about it. Subjects, verbs, parentheses around the prepositional phrases, and diagrams. So there's 4 parts there. All right? If you forget what you're supposed to do, the instructions are written there, but also you can go back and watch the video and get it from that. All right. Any other questions about that? All right. Go ahead and get your reading out. All right, today we have a skill day in reading. So you're going to need pages 226 and 227 for reading. So 226 and 227. All right, so all right, so you should have already done 225. I think that was the last one I had assigned to you. Perhaps, maybe not. I'm not sure. All right. So we're going to talk about comparing and contrasting. All right. Now, this is something that you're going to use in writing, certain styles of writing, even in your language. We're going to get into that a little bit in language as well. Comparing and contrasting. What are you doing when you're comparing things? What are you telling about with them? What do you think, Sophia? Oh, I still can't hear you. Sorry. I see your picture now, but I can't hear you on your microphone. Your microphone's not, it's not muted, but can check the volume. What are you using? Is it an iPad? Did you shake your head yes or no? Is it an iPad or no? Okay. Is it a computer? Just your phone? What are you using then? You can't tell me. I can't hear you. Does anybody know what she's using?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Tablet.
tablet?
Yes, pages.
It could be
Is it a
tablet.
tablet?
Uh-huh.
Tablet? Okay. Did it have a volume on the side of the tablet? Like a button for the volume? Is that already turned up for sure? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you then. I'm not sure why it's not working. It's not muted where I can see you. And I don't know where the issue is. So, all right. Well, let's go to Nazar then. Nazar, what do you do when you compare things? What are you finding out?
Wait,
How things are similar, like two things that are the same.
Yeah. You're trying to see how things are the same. What's similar about them? Okay. Then what about contrast then? Let's go to Schlot. Contrast. What are you doing when you're contrasting things?
What?
What are you doing when you're contrasting things, Schlot? What does that mean? You compare, you're talking about how things are the same, so contrast would be,
Show how things are different.
yeah, you're showing how things are different, all right? All right, so look at your index on page 547 in your book, 547. Okay, this is your index section of your book. I don't think I have it in mind for you guys. Let me see, maybe I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. So you see there on those two pages, it basically has things separated by how are they what are you going to use this to answer some questions? So let's answer some questions here. I'm going to write on a whiteboard, and so you guys can sort of help me with this. All right, so we're going to talk about all right, so I have two words here on this list, and we're going to make columns for these: comparisons and contrasts. And so we're going to I'm going to ask you some questions, and then get ready with your microphone and everything to be able to answer them. If you'd like to answer them, and then I'll try to call on you if I can hear you. Sorry, Sophie, I can't hear you because I know you like to answer. You do well at answering too, and so unfortunately, though, you're kind of stuck there, aren't you? And then so here's the first question. Can you name one way? So pay attention. Can you name one way that Michael Diaz and Gavin Maxwell are similar? Michael Diaz and Gavin Maxwell, how they're similar. So if you look on that index page.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
what page was it again?
547 and 548.
Thank you.
So we're gonna we're going to talk about how are things, so comparing those two stories. So you may have to go back and look at their stories, which would be page 2. Let's see, for Michael, for Gavin Maxwell, it's 250. And for Diaz, it's 261. So 250 and 261 are your stories. So how are they, what are some comparisons you can make about them, those two? Comparing those two stories. What are both stories about?
Otters.
They're both about otters, okay? So that's one similarity. So both of them talking about otters. How do they describe otters? Okay, Nathan, go ahead. Your microphone again.
Playful and friendly.
Yeah, they're both playful and friendly. Okay, so those are some comparisons. Those are things that are same. All right. And then what about some differences that either one of them, maybe it's the way that the thing is presented. How are they different in how they're presented in those things about otters and being playful and friendly? So how are they different there?
One of them is a story and one of them is not.
Okay, one's a fiction story and the other one is basically just telling you facts about it. All right. Okay. And then so what other things might be different there as far as what about something that the one that is the fun story? Does it say anything in there about anything about what the otter eats? Go ahead, Giselle.
It says that they both eat fish.
Okay. What about in the factual one, the second one? They both mention the otter's diet, so that's similar, right? And then, but as far as different, what is the first one's intent? What is the story supposed to do? Is it remember the different types of the 4 different types of stories? To entertain, to inform, to argue for, or to get you to believe. And then what was the fourth one? Which one was to entertain? Just say it out loud. Which of those stories was to entertain? Come on, you know there's 2 stories there, so you should be in your book. You look at them, you should be able to tell just from looking at the story itself. So the first one is about Midgeville, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that one, was that for entertaining, or is that to inform you?
Entertain. Entertain.
Yeah, entertain. Okay, and then the second one was more about information. All right, and so you have some contrasting things there. All right, let's talk about some sentence signals. Okay, so this will help you as you're doing the work, because 226 you're going to be reading, but 227 is where you're going to answer the questions from 226. Okay, so 227 you basically got to read 226 to get the answer. So let's do some sentence signals then. By the way, this is what we had as far as our comparing and contrasting, some of the things that were similar and some of the things that were different between the 2 different things. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you some of these signal words. All right, some of the signal words when you're comparing something are these. You have the word like, to, also, as. Okay, so. All right, so when you're comparing, these are 4 words that are good signal words to show that what they're doing is comparison in there. So if you write those down on a scrap piece of paper, or if you mark them somewhere, that'll give you an indication of what to look for on page 226 when you're doing page 227 to find out what kind it is. All right, and then on the ones that are contrast, some of the possible things are however, which sort of saying, you know, they say this, but however, or the word but, B-U-T, or the word although. So these words are more of the comparison type words, however, but, and although. And so those indicate that those are signal words that indicate that something is coming that you can look for, that it's contrasting information. For instance, if I said, all of my students are smart, but they're not all good looking. I'll put it that way. How's that? Now, that's not true, of course. We know that you guys are all good looking too, but I couldn't think of anything else. So I assume you guys are all good looking, right? Right? Shake your heads, yes? No? Some of you are like, no. Especially when you first get up in the morning, you're probably not all that good looking. You get up and your hair's sticking all over the place, kind of like mine does in the videos sometimes when I'm looking there. Yeah, and Nathan's covering his head now, and Yuri's got his head covered constantly anyway. Because did you take this morning, Yuri? Maybe we shouldn't ask that. Okay. If you took a shower, when you get out of the shower, if you don't comb it right away, you know how it sticks up all over the place if it dries in the wrong way. And so that's kind of the idea. And you know, and then you get this little picture of it like that. That's what happens. You look at it, and other people look at you, and they do that too, because they're just laughing. And then you look at, and they laugh at you, and this is what you do. You start crying. And then the other people are kind of listening to class right now, and they're going, this is boring, Mr. Jones. Let's get this over with. Okay, so we'll move on. All right, so let's do one story together. Or let's look at page 227. We're going to read 226 to be able to help us, okay? 2 stories there. The first one is the top one. So let's look at the first one. Let's read it together, 226. It says, I hiked back up the mountain today for another visit to Nimba's village. This time, a few children crept out to stare at us, but none of the women appeared at the doorways of the hut, or in the doorways of the hut. Even the dusty path down to the river looked deserted. I stood there for a minute, my eyes on the simmering jungle, and asked the Lord what to do next. A familiar voice interrupted my prayer. It was Nimba himself, calling excitedly and beckoning to me from where he stood in the shadow of the biggest tree. He ran up to me. Come now, he exclaimed. The men are all here, waiting to hear about God's book. I don't know how much they understood of what I said. I'm still not very good at this language, but they listened carefully to the few verses of John that I've translated so far. Praise God. May he work in their hearts to his glory. The lamp's getting dim. Better stop for now. All right. So the first author there on the top one, as well as the second author, well, I guess you have to read both of them to answer that question. Well, let's go ahead and do the both together then. Let's do the second question, or the second story too. So here you go. Following the second story on 226. Well, tonight's game was the worst loss we've suffered so far. What kind of coach am I anyway? This basketball team never has been any good at shooting, and the guys missed a lot of shots. Just remembered several good things that happened, though. We prayed with the other team beforehand, as usual, and I could see that they were pretty surprised at that. They must have been even more surprised when they kept trying to foul Randy, and he just didn't get mad the way most guys would. I knew what Randy was after, though, and kept an eye on him. He played a good, clean game, and then, sure enough, after the game, he trotted over to congratulate the other team's big starting forward, Jim. I figured he was probably also asking Jim to go on a hike with his youth group next week, and I quickly prayed for them both. Jim nodded okay, still looking sort of surprised. Maybe he'll get saved too, just like some of the others Randy's been working on. After another game to God's glory, I realized it wasn't really a loss after all. All right, so let's look at says the first author as well as the second must be what? What must they be?
Matthew. Holding it.
Must be a what? Anybody? Okay, go ahead. You already have an answer or no? Okay, anybody? What must they be? Yes, they must be a Christian. Very good. Because they're both talking about God, and they're talking about things that God is doing. Both accounts centered on, and what word from up there in the green, centered on in a blank that the author had that day. Raise your hand if you think you know the answer from the top. And then, Sophie, if you want to try to answer, you can just give me a number for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the list for which one you think it would be. Stop humming, please, Yuri. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. That's correct. Number 1, it is an experience that the author had that day, an experience. So the coach, like the missionary, showed a concern for the what needs of others. What kind of needs did he show concern for? Okay, Giselle? You guys speak up a little bit. Yeah, spiritual needs. And so they had a concern for the spiritual needs of others. What power was evident in the first entry and in the second entry also? Everybody.
Prayer.
Yeah, prayer was the power that was evident. And then in the last one, number 5, says both journals told about something God did for his own what? Everybody?
Glory.
Yeah, his own glory. Okay. All right. So now look at the bottom one. This one's going to be a little bit more involved in you answering. All right. So there are 8 words there. All right. Going top to bottom: preaching, basketball players, foreign, jungle natives, missionary, mountain village, Christ-like, and coach. Okay. Ella, which one do you think fits the first one? One country was blank, but the other was not. Please stop humming, whoever's doing that. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. You have it, Ella, you think? One country was what, but the other was not.
I have it between 2. I can't decide which one it is.
Well, go ahead and just take a guess. Which 2 do you think it is then?
Preaching. Oh no, I think it's Christ-like.
Okay, so one country was Christ-like, but the other was not. How can a country be Christ-like?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Hold on a second. I got cut off there for a second. I think I accidentally pressed on my computer. So what do you think, Alina? Go ahead. You got to turn your volume on.
Foreign.
Yeah, one country was foreign. The one where we don't have in our country, we don't have villages with huts, and the men who don't, the good indication is he has to translate into a different language. And so that's the indication that it was a foreign, one country was, they were playing basketball, common, not that they don't play in other countries, because they do, but they were obviously all from the same country in that one. So, all right, the first setting was a blank. However, the second was in a gym. What was the first one? That one's pretty obvious, I think. Nazar, what do you think?
Was Mountain Village?
Yeah, it was a mountain village, okay? And then the first author, you got 2 blanks here. Schlock, what was the first author?
What?
The first author. It says number 3, the first author was a blank. What was the first author of the first story?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Have you been filling in the answers here?
Yes.
But you're not going to read with us, huh? Okay, Giselle, go ahead.
Missionary.
Yeah, the first one was a missionary. Obviously, he had been there and he's translating scripture into their language. And the second one was a what? How about Elizabeth? Let's see if Elizabeth can turn her microphone on and give us an answer. Missionary, and the second one was a
Coach.
That's right. It was a coach. Yes, it was a coach. And the second one was a coach. The first journal told about blank testimony, and the second about testimony of blank example. So the first one told about what kind of a testimony, Elijah. What kind of testimony did the first one talk about? Of the words that are left up there, what kind of testimony was done there? What was the first guy doing, in other words? What was he trying to do? What did he do in the story? Yeah, turn your microphone on. Microphone. Microphone. Oh, there you go. Gotcha.
Can,
So we've already used foreign, mountain village, missionary, and coach. And so we have 4 words left. And so which kind of testimony was told about in that first story?
the first story.
What was the missionary doing there, in other words? What kind of testimony was he giving about God?
I don't. I don't
Not
know.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Tejas? What do you think? What kind of testimony was being given?
Preaching testimony?
Yeah, it was preaching. He was preaching to the people there. And then, Ella, what about the second one? What kind of an example was it?
Christ-like.
Yeah, it was a Christ-like example, okay? And then, Angelica, for the number 5, the first author's ministry was to, you got 2 answers left. It's either jungle natives or basketball players. So which one do you think the first story, his ministry was to? You got to turn your microphone on. Microphone on, Angelica. I wonder if Angelica is really at her computer because her camera's off. I'm not even sure. All right, let's see. All right, so back to the...
The answer
So
is
Angel-
jungle natives.
Very good. It is jungle natives. He was not preaching to basketball players. That is true. And that's your other choice. And basketball players is the last one there. And so you guys have this done. We did it together. You know it's right now. Okay. And Nathan's excited, as you can tell. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. Any questions about anything? You do have some. You do have your spelling pre-test today, your trial test. That's already on the computer. So make sure that you get that done. I'm trying to think what else. What else do you guys have today? Oh, the Bible answers for the Bible pre-test. They are on the Bible video, I believe. Okay. And so now if you have it there, I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and read them to you guys right now. And that way you guys can have an opportunity, if it's not on the Bible one, if you have it with you, but if you don't have it with you, you can always come back and look at this one, this video, if you can't find it on the Bible video. I'm pretty sure I put it there though, but I'll just go ahead and say it anyway, just to make sure. It's coming up here. All right, here we go. All right, so number 1 is E. E is an echo. 2 is G as in good. 3 is B. 4 is I. 5 is F. 6 is C. 7 is A. 8 is D. And 9 is H. Number 10 is Jesus. And now as I'm going through these, I know I did put it on the Bible video, but number 11 is bow to Jesus Christ as Lord. Number 12, to demonstrate the power of God. Number 13, Peter, James, and John. Number 14, tabernacles. And number 15, to listen to Jesus. Number 16 is D. 17 is C. 18 is E. 19 is A. And 20 is B. All right, now number 21. Why are there different versions and translations of the Bible? Basically because people put the Bible from the original language into the language that they can read, and something to that effect is fine. Number 22, it says here, accept all reasonable answers. Basically, it says, write one name for Jesus and write the truth that the name tells about Jesus. Well, if we talk about him as Savior, then the truth is that he saves people from their sins. That would be kind of the way you would answer that type of question. So Savior is one. Did anybody come up with a different name? Hey, Alina, go ahead.
Prince of Peace.
Say that again. The what? Oh, Prince of Peace. Yes. Yeah, he brings peace with us, to God by his sacrifice for sins. What do you think,
Mr.
Gary?
Jones. Messiah.
Messiah, okay, and so Messiah was the person, the Redeemer for Israel, all right, and that's basically he's the Redeemer. Any others? You'll have to say your names out loud because I can't, if anybody has any others. But those are some one right there, and you may have another one that would work as well. I'll be pretty flexible on that for your test. Number 23. What should Christian young people do to demonstrate true friendship? Well, some of the answers you could have: encourage friends to love and obey God. Not just encourage friends, and that is one thing too. If they're sad, you can lift them up, encourage them. Tell them when they're doing wrong. And to honor and obey your parents, or tell them to honor and obey their parents. Encourage them to do the right thing, and encourage them to tell others about Christ if they're a Christian. There are a lot of things that we can do to demonstrate true friendship to people. One of the more important ones is to tell them about, if they're a friend and they're not saved, tell them about Christ. That's one thing. But then if they are saved, is to tell them when they're doing something wrong. That is such a difficult thing to do. But if you're really a friend, if you really care about them, and not to be judgmental of them, but to tell them about what they're doing as far as God. And then number 24 is K, 25 is M, 26 is D, 27 is C, G, and J, all three of those. 28 is H, 29 is A. 27, it asks for the three characteristics of a good friend. So, all right, so we'll, that's it for today. And I think you guys have plenty to do today. Trial test for math. You have a test 10 in science. And you have Bible pages to do. So I'll let you get to it. If you haven't already started, I would encourage you, if you're able to. I know some of you don't wake up as early, and that's fine if you don't. Maybe you find that if you wake up a little bit later, that you're more awake when it comes time to doing the work, and that probably helps you altogether. So, all right, well, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Any other questions, though, before I go? All right, well, then I'll hang up and see you guys tomorrow.
We